We begin, I've been asked to run through some housekeeping. There is no fire alarm test scheduled for today. There are fire exits clearly signposted in each room, so in the event of an emergency, please follow the direction of security who will guide you to safety. The assembly point is the Guildhall Yard. Should any delegate spot anything suspicious, such as an unattended bag or require first aid, they should inform one of the venue staff or security personnel. We also have the St John's ambulance service on site throughout the event. Please switch off all mobile phones or put them on silent during the sessions. Passes should be worn at all times. Anybody not displaying a pass will be ejected from the venue. That probably includes me. I don't have my pass on at the moment. Please make sure you download the Business Forum app, which provides up-to-date news on the agenda and your session choices and helps you get in touch with fellow delegates and ask questions to the panel. So you can find that on the website. And now let's begin. It's my great pleasure to welcome Alderman Charles Bowman, the 690th Lord Mayor of London.
Lord Marland, Your Excellencies, Ministers, my Lords, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honour to welcome you all to the 11th Commonwealth Business Forum. As the 690th Lord Mayor of this great city of London, may I say what a unique joy and privilege it is to have you all here in the city, in this great hall, the Guildhall, a site of unparalleled historic significance. Built on the remains of a Roman Colosseum, the 14th century stonework of this great hall survived the fire of London in 1666 and the bombings of the Second World War. It was here, in March 1950, that Her Majesty the Queen met her first Prime Minister, Winston Churchill. Every Lord Mayor has held their banquet here, and during the 2012 London Olympics, the marathon route ran just a few metres away through Guildhall Yard. And 3 weeks ago, this hall was equally packed in hosting a world-leading fintech forum. Strong foundations and modern purpose have not only kept this institution standing, it has kept it alive and thriving. And the same can be said for the Commonwealth. We are an alignment of great diversity. Over 2 billion people, 14% of the world's GDP, and a fifth of the world's landmass. Yes, we are all different, but we share so much: culture, democracy, and trade. All three of these qualities are being recognized this month. Yesterday, we saw the glittering finale of the Commonwealth Games, where over 6,500 athletes took part in some of the most challenging competitions of their careers. It was and is undeniably the Commonwealth cultural event. And at the end of this week, heads of government from every Commonwealth country will be here in London to discuss worldwide democratic issues. So, it is a joy and a privilege to be here with you all, here in the world's leading financial centre, to discuss business and trade. It is no secret to the people in this room that there is such a thing as the Commonwealth factor. The similarities I spoke of earlier, all of which are underpinned by rigorous rule of law, mean that trade costs are 19% lower between Commonwealth members than the global average. Some members benefit from this greatly, but my view is that we can spread that benefit further. As Lord Mayor, it is my privilege to spend 100 days of my year in office on international visits in some 29 different countries. And the Commonwealth is an essential part of the City of London Corporation's activity. When I, alongside the corporation, visited Australia, a key focus throughout the trip was our new fintech bridge between the countries to better access each other's markets and talent. And I look forward to visiting Canada, Nigeria and India in the coming months to explore other trade innovations with them. In fact, the position of Lord Mayor is symbiotically linked with the Commonwealth. For example, the last Lord Mayor visited Mozambique, South Africa, Zambia, Malta and Pakistan in his tenure. And the Lord Mayors of the last 50 years have been increasingly visiting Commonwealth countries, encouraging Commonwealth and the UK to trade and do business with the City of London's world-renowned financial and professional services. The City of London is where the world comes to do business. And over the next 3 days, we all have the opportunity to take part in an extremely rich agenda. I am looking forward to taking part in a number of these events, including an Investing in the UK discussion with our International Secretary, an Innovation in Infrastructure discussion tomorrow morning, where I'll be launching an exciting new piece of research from the City of London alongside the Mozambique Minister of Trade and Industry, and the banquet tomorrow evening with the Chancellor and the President of the Republic of South Africa. But before I finish, I would like to thank our partners for helping to put this extraordinary series of events together. Both Her Majesty's Government and the Commonwealth Enterprise and Investment Council have worked so hard alongside the City of London to make this all possible. And a special thank you to all the volunteers from Goodenough College. This forum is all about business and trade, and with it, the creation of the prosperity which underpins social cohesion, that creates stability and produces security for us all. Let's all take this rare opportunity to make a real difference for Commonwealth business and trade. And now it is my honour to welcome to the stage Her Majesty's 13th Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Theresa May. Thank you.
I would like to start by thanking the Lord Mayor for hosting us here today at the beautiful Guildhall, the home of the City of London's administrators for almost 600 years. As we've just heard, the building has witnessed its fair share of history over the centuries, and today it is a privilege to add to the roll call of great events with the 11th Commonwealth Business Forum. Now, we're here today to discuss how best to make this a more prosperous Commonwealth for all, with contributions from leading figures in some of the world's top businesses. And this is just one of 4 such fora running this week ahead of the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, giving a voice to hundreds of people who in so many different ways do so much to make our Commonwealth the amazing institution it is. There's the People's Forum, providing a platform for the Commonwealth's incredible civil society groups. The Women's Forum will look at ways of overcoming the challenges still faced by a great many women and girls. And perhaps most important of all, there is the Commonwealth Youth Forum. It is so important because while the Commonwealth itself is a venerable institution, its citizens are much younger. Almost 2/3 are under the age of 30. The young people of today are the Commonwealth of tomorrow. Its business leaders, its innovators, its heads of government. They have incredible potential, and we as a Commonwealth have a duty to help them reach it. And that's why I've put youth at the heart of the week's agenda, and why I began this morning by meeting with some of the Youth Forum's delegates. As we talked about their ideas and aspirations, about their vision for the future of the Commonwealth, I was struck by the vital role that businesses like yours have in tackling their concerns and giving substance to their ambitions. They called for cleaner oceans and greater sustainability. You can help deliver that by changing business practices and creating innovative new products and solutions. They called for action on youth unemployment. You, as entrepreneurs and business leaders, create the jobs and opportunities our young people need. And by driving our economies, you fund the schools and colleges that equip them with the skills they need. And the members of the Youth Forum called for an inclusive Commonwealth, where greater prosperity is enjoyed by everyone. That is something that simply cannot be achieved without strong, successful businesses. Because the best way to raise living standards for all is through economic growth based on free enterprise, operating in inclusive, fair, and open rules-based markets. A key part of that, one that has become more important in the years since the Commonwealth was founded, is international trade. And it is an area in which the Commonwealth is flourishing. The 2018 Commonwealth Trade Review predicted that trade between member states will be worth $700 billion by 2020. Here in the UK, for example, the value of our exports to fellow members is roughly double what it was 20 years ago. Yet risks remain. Global growth is fragile. The challenges posed by protectionism are all too clear. And the world economy is changing as new technology creates new jobs in some industries while supplanting them in others. If Commonwealth businesses are to flourish in such times, if we are to deliver and secure the prosperous future our young people want and deserve, then the Commonwealth and national governments must not be afraid to act. Because although the system of international commerce has done much good for the world, it can always be improved. Playing fields can be levelled, barriers removed, the benefits opened up to all. So while we should be unapologetic in our support for free and inclusive trade, we should also work hand in hand with businesses to make it more efficient and effective, for example, by supporting the use of international standards. Shared standards have huge potential to stimulate trade. They create a common language for trading partners across the globe, enhance trust in supply chains, and stimulate innovation. Greater use of these international standards across the Commonwealth will reduce the costs of trade between members as well as with partners beyond the Commonwealth for greater global benefit. And that is why the UK will be funding an all-new Commonwealth standards network, which will support developing countries in particular to better meet existing international standards. The network will provide a significant opportunity for national standards experts to collaborate and share best practice, and it will empower developing countries to have a stronger voice in the international standards community, something that has benefits on a global scale. We will also be funding a trade facilitation programme, supporting and providing technical assistance to selected Commonwealth countries in implementing the World Trade Organization's Trade Facilitation Agreement. Full implementation of the WTO agreement is estimated to reduce trade costs by up to 16% for less developed countries. It will cut the average time needed to import goods by 47%, and the time taken to export by as much as 91%, a huge boost for businesses across the Commonwealth. But no amount of action on these fronts will truly be successful if half the Commonwealth citizens continue to face significant barriers to participation in the economy. If our family of nations is to realise its full potential, then we must take action to boost women's access to economic opportunity and empower them to create and build their own businesses. Many members have already signed up to the Buenos Aires Declaration on Trade and Women's Economic Empowerment, which seeks to remove barriers to and support the participation of women in trade. It's an impressive start, but I believe we can go further. So over the next 2 years, the UK will work with the International Trade Centre to deliver a new programme, She Trades Commonwealth. She Trades will offer Commonwealth-wide support to help countries break down gender barriers in international trade. It will provide a forum for member states to work collectively and share best practice, and will compile the data needed to identify what works and track progress over time. The progress will also deliver targeted interventions in a number of countries, providing training for women entrepreneurs, connecting them to markets and investment opportunities, and helping firms overcome barriers to engaging with women-owned businesses. Boosting women's participation is the right thing to do, but business equality is not just about doing what is right. There are real economic benefits. It's been estimated that if women played the same role as men in labour markets, as much as $28 trillion could be added to global GDP by 2025. If Commonwealth members are not giving women an equal opportunity to succeed in business and in trade, they're trying to take on some of the biggest economies in the world with one hand tied behind their backs. That will not change overnight, but She Trades represents an important step in the right direction, one that, like the other initiatives I've talked about today, will deliver benefits across the Commonwealth and beyond. When we all work to the same standards, when we break down barriers to trade, and when we empower women to take their rightful place in the economy, the benefits are felt not just by countries and individuals involved. Freer, easier trade means stronger economies, more jobs, more choice, and lower prices. And that's true here in the UK, across the Commonwealth, and around the world. With its unique scope and global voice, such a Commonwealth can set a powerful example to the world, one that demonstrates and underlines the importance of protecting free trade and the rules-based international order. Today's initiatives are an example of what can be done to make that happen, of how governments can lay the groundwork for growth. But you in business also have a vital role to play. The discussions here will feed into the full summit, so I hope you can take the chance to share ideas and insights, to identify new challenges and new opportunities, to highlight where Commonwealth governments can step up and do more, and even where perhaps we should step back and do a little less. The Commonwealth has never just been about heads of state and government. It has always been an organisation in which people and businesses from around the world can come together and work together to improve all our lives. This is your forum, and this is your Commonwealth. So let us make it an organisation that works for all of us and shape a future of which we can all be proud. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister. I'm particularly looking forward to seeing how She Trades evolves and develops. Now, I'd like to call upon Lord Marland, Chairman of the Commonwealth Enterprise and Investment Council, to give us his opening remarks.
Well, welcome everybody. This is fantastic view as I see this row of faces and so many familiar ones. It feels like a sort of great big party, friends throughout the room, and not surprising, Yelda, you've come back from the Iran-Iraq border to join us here. It must be so much more fun being here. But welcome to you all, and thanks. Thank you so much, Lord Mayor, and your team for everything you've done in working with our team to create this. And thank you to my team, who have been magnificent in putting this together. Thanks to the UK government, and I'm particularly grateful to Greg Clark and Liam Fox for being here and participating so greatly in this event. And thank you, Prime Minister. You're not the only woman to have left the room when I speak, but thank you very much for joining us today and saying such encouraging words about the Commonwealth. And lastly, this was not possible without our sponsors and all our friends and strategic partners. You're all here in this room. Thank you so much. It's fair to say that 2.5 years ago, the Commonwealth was at a crossroads. There was very little leadership. There was all sorts of concerns about its future. And it is fair to say that Malta CHOGM was the springboard for a whole new bunch of initiatives. We have a new Secretary-General who I want to say how grateful we are to her support. We had obviously a new leader in the Prime Minister of Malta and his team, who have, with such enthusiasm, driven the Commonwealth and brought back all the things that are important to us. Under his leadership, Prime Minister Muscat, the word Commonwealth was a whisper, and now it is a loud noise, which is an amazing achievement. India are engaging fully with the Commonwealth. Africa are signing new trade agreements which recognise free trade, and many of them are Commonwealth countries. Canada is seeing the potential of the Commonwealth. All over the 53 countries, lights are going on. And importantly, the Prime Minister of Malta and his team supported our organisation, which was then a fledgling organisation. To such an extent, now we have 65 strategic partners from across the world. We have opened 2 new offices, one in Kuala Lumpur, one in Nigeria. We co-hosted the Trade Ministers meeting, where 37 trade ministers appeared here in London. We've had business summits. We've had a summit with the Saudi Arabian government, which we hosted here, thank you, Lord Mayor, for a Saudi Commonwealth networking event. And I have just returned from Queensland, where there's been the magnificent games, but much more importantly, 2 great forums, business forums, that ran alongside it, which have brought the Commonwealth closer together. Now, this could not have been possible without the leadership of the Prime Minister of Malta, and I think we owe him a huge debt for getting the Commonwealth back on its feet. And what a platform for the UK government to pick up the baton and take it forward. You know, we're in an incredible world at the moment where The world is connecting like it's never done before. People are meeting people on the internet. They're getting married on the internet. They're buying clothes through social media. They're buying clothes on the internet. The whole world is connecting in a way like it's never connected before. And yet governments are disconnecting in some ways. And they're having to reconnect. And so therefore, this puts the Commonwealth at this extraordinary, unique position. A group of people that all speak the same language, that is underpinned by the same British rule of law, whether you like it or not, it is, that shares so many common interests through sport, through education, through cross-fertilisation that we've had for years. This is an amazing platform in that you can do business 19% more effectively, as the Prime Minister said, within the Commonwealth. And it is this enabling organisation that we have hoped to create and will hope to be a benefit not just to the UK government as it takes power, but to all Commonwealth governments. What a fantastic position for it to be in, and what a platform for the UK as it realigns, so I gather, its trading relationships. And surprisingly, it may surprise you, and particularly UK ministers, that actually, as I've travelled the Commonwealth countries look to the UK for guidance. They look to it for leadership. So this is nothing for the UK to be ashamed about, worried about, or apologise for, because providing the leadership is sympathetic and understanding and compassionate, which I know it will be, it is a fantastic opportunity for the UK to rebuild the Commonwealth and build on that Commonwealth factor. And why not start establishing trade agreements or a framework for trade agreements within the Commonwealth? It, in my view, is a complete open goal that is there for the taking, a free trade Commonwealth framework which has great possibility. So I say to the government of the UK and its two brilliant representatives here, ask not what the UK want from the Commonwealth, but ask what the UK can do for the Commonwealth. And if you take that message with you, you will find it an amazing, rewarding organisation full of brilliant people, brilliant businesses, as you will see the next few days. And you will have invested in an organisation or group of organisations that will be so wonderful experience for you, that will benefit the UK, but much more importantly, benefit, which is your responsibility, the Commonwealth itself.
Thank you so much, Lord Marland. Actually, it is great fun to be here rather than the Iran-Iraq border. Can I now please call on stage the Prime Minister of Malta, the Honourable Dr. Joseph Muscat, to join us on stage.
The check is in the mail, Jonathan, so. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to be addressing this opening session of the Commonwealth Business Forum. I would like to start by thanking Jonathan and the Enterprise and Investment Council, as well as Her Majesty's Government, for hosting us here in London, and I am sure that this week will be a great success. It is over 2 years since Malta hosted its own CHOGM meeting, including the Business Forum. I must congratulate the British government for delivering already better weather than we did when we met last in Malta. This Commonwealth Summit is taking place at a critical juncture. As we meet again to continue on our journey of renewal, the rising wave of protectionism risks undermining the liberal international economic order. The economic growth that flourished during this period and the values that we take for granted fair trade, open markets, and multilateral institutions face unprecedented challenges. At this historical moment, characterized by flux, the Commonwealth remains a positive example of what can be achieved through international partnership. The opportunities for business collaboration offered by this business forum are key to delivering the message. Our path towards a prosperous and common future is most effectively pursued through economic growth propelled by private enterprise. Programs such as the Commonwealth's Enterprise and Investment Council's Commonwealth First are a concrete example of how entrepreneurs can benefit from Commonwealth collaboration. I do hope the program will be launched in other countries so that more small and medium-sized enterprises can benefit. Binding our diverse group of nations is the added advantage that stems from the Commonwealth factor. Our shared language, regulatory frameworks, and cultural values makes it, as you have heard, 19%, I hope it will be 20% very soon, cheaper to do business within this bloc. As we gather to promote international investment at this unique event, we must remain vigilant from the destabilizing forces that globalization can unleash within our communities. Left unchecked, they give salience to false views that an open economy benefits only the elite and not the vast majority of our citizens. The truth couldn't be more different. An open economy bolsters international development and ensures greater domestic prosperity. Small economies are especially dependent on international markets for their imports and exports. Access to international investment and human capital are the primary engines that generate our own economic growth. As Prime Minister of a thriving small island state in Europe and the Mediterranean, Malta is proof that embracing open borders for both goods and people is the route to prosperity. We have registered our first fiscal surplus in 30 years, for 2 years in a row. Unemployment is at a historic all-time low. Our record economic growth now hovers at around the 7% mark per annum, nearly 3 times that of our Eurozone peers. Whilst registering almost universal employment, we continue to reduce barriers for entry for people who want to join our labor market. Although a continuous increase in GDP and high job creation are not only desirable but essential for a thriving society, prosperity is about more than just economic indicators. It is about creating a hopeful future for our citizens. We must continue pursuing the mainstreaming of equality into our shared economic agenda. Inclusive economic growth provides the best antidote to the looming threat of protectionism and insularity. I am proud that Malta's legacy, when we launched the inaugural Women's Forum and included LGBTIQ rights on the Commonwealth agenda, still endures. This week, we'll also feature sessions on diversity and equality in business, jointly hosted by the Business and Women's Forum. More than 60% of our Commonwealth citizens, as Prime Minister May said, are now young people. Regulating innovative sectors, digital and tech, allows youths to channel their talents into creating their own promising future. In Malta, we have adopted an approach that I like to call innovation through regulation. Blockchain-based technologies are just one of the sectors that we are creating through regulation. If a country of just 500,000 people can benefit from this, imagine the shifts that these innovative technologies can bring to a bloc of more than 2 billion people. As leaders in your communities, you have a pivotal role in pushing forward this agenda. Together, we have to continue making the case for an open society that nurtures innovation and welcomes change. And we have to ensure that the arising benefits flow to as many as possible in our society. It is the only means to ensure a sustainable economic model. During our 2-year tenure as Chair in Office of the Commonwealth, we continued to build on earlier efforts to assist developing countries, including small island developing states. The initiatives that stemmed from the mandate of the 2015 Commonwealth Summit are aimed at equipping the businesses of these countries with the appropriate toolkit to operate in the global trading environment. The Commonwealth Small States Trade Finance Facility, has started operating out of its base in Malta. It will assist 31 small states of the Commonwealth with tapping into the global market. Every pound, dollar, and euro we will utilize to cover risk for providers of trade credit will lead to increased trade for the Commonwealth small states exponentially to the ratio of 1:20. It is estimated that the facility on its own can potentially support an incremental trade flow of almost $1 billion over the next 3 years. The Small States Center of Excellence is also testament of what can be achieved through Commonwealth collaboration. The capacity building offered by this center will improve the effectiveness of the funds invested in Commonwealth initiatives. And last year's inaugural Commonwealth Trade Ministers meeting, convened by the Enterprise and Investment Council, is a result of our joint commitment towards creating infrastructure that strengthens the multilateral trading system, a commitment to a rules-based, transparent, free and fair multilateral trading system. And it has never been of greater relevance. Going forward, Malta's commitment to the values of the Commonwealth Business Forum remain unwavering. Even after the end of our tenure as Chair in Office, we are delighted to announce that next year we will be hosting the first Commonwealth's Foreign Direct Investment Conference. All investment promotion agencies, SMEs, and international corporations from across the Commonwealth will be invited to join us in Malta to continue to consolidate on the work that we aim to achieve this week. It will be an excellent opportunity to continue to provide the necessary trust for further growth and prosperity in our Commonwealth. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prime Minister. I'd now like to invite Jose Vinal, Chairman of Standard Chartered Principal Founding Partners of the Commonwealth Business Forum. Thank you.
Good morning to you all. It's certainly a privilege to be here today, particularly in as grand a setting as this. As you have heard, the Guildhall has acted for nearly 6 centuries as a center of commerce, trade, and discussion, so it's fitting that we're able to meet here today for the start of the Commonwealth Business Forum. With 53 members and 2.4 billion people, the Commonwealth, while it's not a formal trade bloc, certainly has a unique trade advantage, underpinned by historical bonds, the widespread use of English as a nearly common language, and close governance, administrative, and legal systems. The Commonwealth today accounts for 15% of total world trade and 14% of global GDP, and its capacity as an enabler and supporter of trade is now more important than ever. As we look towards the next 3 days of intense discussion and deliberation and work to deliver a prosperous Commonwealth, we must keep this opportunity in mind. The formidable progress that the world has made in recent decades towards a more globally connected economy has allowed an unprecedented expansion of cross-border trade and investment and helped reduce extreme poverty in the world by over 1 billion people. Many emerging markets and developing economies, 47 of which are Commonwealth members, have grown faster as they have become more integrated in the global economy. Businesses have benefited from greater economies of scale when accessing foreign markets, and consumers have had greater choice of higher quality goods and services at lower prices. However, just as there's been a reduction in inequality across countries in this process, we've also witnessed a rise in inequality within many countries as the gap between the rich and poor has increased and the middle class squeezed. There is little doubt that some people have been left behind, and we must now ensure that globalization becomes more inclusive so that it works for all and not just for some. It's important to emphasize that, as well as trade, technological advancement has brought substantial productivity gains, but also led to rising income inequality. As technology evolves, it will make jobs, a number of jobs, obsolete and require people to focus on different skills. To be clear, this is not just simply manufacturing roles. Research shows that nearly half of jobs across a vast range of occupations are at high risk in the long term to be computerized. However, just as the automobile led to the extinction of the horse and cart, it created millions of automotive jobs. Technological change will see the creation of multiple new productive sectors across the Commonwealth. That is why there is a need to make sure that public policies help provide the education, training, and skills that are needed for people to successfully transition to higher quality new jobs. This is particularly vital for the Commonwealth, where more than 60% of its population are under 30. Of course, trade and technological advances are not independent processes. While technology transforms and facilitates trade, trade is a powerful vehicle for technological diffusion across countries and an engine for productivity, growth, and development. We must thus prioritize open, fair trade for goods and services, abiding by international rules and accompanied by policies favoring social inclusion. As Prime Minister Muscat said a moment ago, this is particularly important, and the Commonwealth might lead by example at a time where the multilateral trading order is subject to significant risks and threats. This prioritization of open, fair trade for goods and services will allow a more equitable delivery of the benefits of a globally connected economy while continuing to raise living standards. Trade and finance are also closely related. The expansion of trade is facilitated by finance, thus establishing a positive association between the commercial and financial spheres of a globally connected economy. Standard Chartered has a deep understanding of the opportunity and prosperity that can be achieved through trade and of the key role that finance can play in facilitating trade and investment. We are one of the world's top 3 trade banks, financing 6% of global trade, and with a presence in nearly half of the Commonwealth, we have been involved in its members' economic and social transformation for over 150 years. For example, we've been able and privileged to play our part in Singapore's rise as a trading nation and financial center, in India's growth story, and in Africa's ongoing economic journey. We are a strong advocate for the multilateral trade system, for donor support, and for the determination of policymakers to promote global standards which have made this growth and development possible, something I know that the Commonwealth has also always championed. It is through business that the positives of trade and economic success need to be realized, and we have an essential role to play, we as whole, in ensuring people enjoy the benefits of a global society. I'm therefore pleased to announce that Standard Chartered will commit an additional $5 billion to facilitating trade in the Commonwealth by 2020, with a focus on key trading hubs. We're also proud of our partnership with organizations such as the Queen Diamond Jubilee Trust, who plan to develop a Vision Catalyst Fund to improve eye health. Alongside others, we are publicly stating our support for this initiative, which will transform the lives of millions of people by bringing together a diverse range of civil society and public-private stakeholders with a shared mission. With 85 million people in the Commonwealth today having very poor vision or being blind, these ambitious activities are essential. Before concluding, I would like to thank you all for being here this week, and also thank the UK government for hosting this forum, and for all those who have worked so hard to make this possible, Lord Mayor of London and Lord Marland. Platforms such as this provide invaluable opportunities for discussion, collective thinking, and galvanizing action to deliver a more connected, stronger, and prosperous Commonwealth. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jose. We'd also like to thank all the forum partners and supporters, and as Jose said, all of you for being here in London and contributing to what will no doubt be quite a fantastic few days. We'll now be taking a short break, but we will be reconvening here in 30 minutes' time in the Great Hall for our opening session. Global economic outlook, trade growth, and the Commonwealth, where, as we've heard, there will be some dynamic and interesting conversations. So we'll see you shortly.